Hey, everybody. Welcome to Muscular Development's preview of the Puerto Rico Pro. And I'm very happy to announce the triumphant return of Giles Tiger Thomas in his first video appearance post open heart surgery a couple weeks ago, all the way from UK. Giles Tiger Thomas, how are you, sir?
I'm feeling good. One question. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, rip it open. Let's see this. Oh, wow. Keep going. Oh, boy. I think there's more.
That's one of three. That's one of three.
Wow. How low does that go? Wow. Does that go all the way to like the belly?
Yeah. I've still got a bandage where they put the tubes in.
Wow.
That was the most painful thing when they pulled that. There's a tube that drains your heart, and it's deep inside you.
Drains your heart.
Yeah, no, it drains your heart. Literally, it's emptying into like a big container. It looks like cherry juice, but it ain't. It's just blood and gunk.
Oh my God.
And they pulled it out when I was fully conscious, and that was yeah, that wasn't the most pleasant experience, but hey, it had to be done. So yeah, all good.
Now you're a DCU guy, not an MCU. That's DC Comics versus Marvel Comics. So we can't make any references to Tony Stark and Iron Man with the thing that he's got there. But it would have been cool if we could have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So we are here to talk about the Puerto Rico Pro happening this Saturday and Sunday. It is a 2-day show. So to give you guys the breakdown of the schedule, Saturday is going to be women's physique, women's bodybuilding, classic physique, 212 bodybuilding, 3 p.m. for the judging, 6:30 p.m. for the finals. That's Eastern Standard Time. Sunday, starting at 9 a.m., they got everything else: fitness, figure, men's physique, wellness, bikini, open. That's 9 a.m. judging, 4 p.m. finals. And as all Tim Gardner shows, he has multiple over, I think over 40, over 50 for all these categories. He gives all these people that turn pro as masters a little better opportunity to place in a pro show, where in the open, they might have a tougher time. But I'm a little surprised it didn't get a better turnout because, man, it's in Puerto Rico. Beautiful. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico? If not, you got to make it there. If tropical, it's still part of the U.S. So, you know, if you're not, well, I guess it would still be a foreign country to you, but it's got all the amenities of the United States and everything, and beautiful, gorgeous weather, crystal clear blue water. Geez, I was there like 20 years ago now. But let's get into it. We start with the big boys. And
hang on. I mean, following the success of the Puerto Rico Pro last year, I'm surprised there isn't more names doing this. Now, we got guys like Akeem Williams who won this last year. We've got Steve Crooklow, Valier. They're literally leaving it right to the last minute. So I don't understand why one or two, I mean, you got like Hassan, but you know, the bigger names don't come in and just, you know, just did a one-shot deal and sort of, you know, just to get their qualification in nice and early. And also the other thing is, I mean, people complain there's too many pro cards being given out, but there was less pro cards in the 90s, but the shows like had 20, 30, 40. I mean, the Night of Champions had like 50 competitors in. So I'm not really feeling this. I think it's important for these pros to really support these shows, you know. So I mean, I think maybe we need a bit more like of what Egypt did last year with like Hassan, Mohammed, you know, the other Egyptians. I'm trying to think who they are, who did like 6, 7, 8 shows. So I just I hope. You know, I hope, and also it's good to see a bit of a resurgence. What's your feelings on the resurgence of the Masters? Because obviously they're doing the Masters shows. You know, they want to bring it back to the Olympia. What's your feelings on that?
I'd like to see a Masters Olympia because, you know, I'm like you. I'm a historian of the sport, not to your level, but I like to see these people who, you know, they wouldn't really be viable in the Open Olympia, but still they're incredibly impressive for being 40, 50 years old or in that range. And, you know, guys that may be retired, it's always exciting to see people come out of retirement, especially if they still look close to what they used to look like. Of course, sometimes we're let down and, you know, Father Time is taking a big toll on them. But, you know, I love to see people come back, give it their best shot, as long as they're being healthy and everything. Of course, we want everybody to live long, healthy lives in the sport. But is there talk about Masters Olympia happening this year with the Olympia?
I heard something and then it went quiet. So I don't know whether it's going to be this year, but I think I would imagine that it'll be back next year. But do you remember the excitement when Lou Ferrigno came back in '92?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was he did the Open Olympia that year.
Yeah, he was retired at 25 in 1975. He did that last Olympia with Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
And then he came back 17 years later 17 years and he was still only 42. And I thought he looked absolutely brilliant. I mean, I wasn't expecting him to to do anything, and he got 12th, and then he came back the following year and got 10th. Yeah. And I just think more often than not, when they make these comebacks, it's like, it's like a sort of a bit of a shadow of their former self. But I don't know, maybe bringing back the Masters, you'll see some guys coming back that might look even better, But I always thought, like when I went to the Masters Olympia in 2012 in Miami, that was I didn't really like seeing guys like Dexter and Tony Freeman and Dennis James coming in and taking up the top placings. Right. And that's why I think the Masters should be put back to 45 minimum. Not 40. I think 40 guys in the Open are only really starting to hit their peak. So that's what I think.
Or maybe you could say you have to have been inactive competitively for at least 5 years or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I agree, because Dexter, that was like, talk about easy money.
100 grand.
It's called phoning it in. He just showed, he could have been 70% and just destroyed that show. But I hear what you're saying. All right, let's get into it, because I'm excited about the return of Hassan Mustafa. This is a guy we've both been watching since, was it the 2017 Tampa we first saw him?
Not 17, I think it was the year after.
Yeah, I think it was 18, but we were both so impressed with this guy. Another fantastic talent out of Egypt. So last year he was 3rd at the New York Pro. The year before that, he was 4th at the New York Pro. 2021, he was also 13th in the Olympia, 9th in the Arnold Classic. This is a guy that has all the tools, incredible size, beautiful shape, some of the biggest legs I've ever seen. Like, they're up there with Rami legs. And he gets into good condition, but we always want to see that little extra bit, because I think this guy should be winning. The fact that he hasn't won a show yet, it boggles my mind. He's so good. Hassan Mustafa, what do you say?
Well, I think did he make the record last year and he did 8 shows?
It had to be close. It had to be.
Because he did the Arnold, the Olympia, the Indy, the New York Pro, the everything. He did everything. I mean, all those Egyptians. I mean, there was Mohammed, there was him. Who was the other Egyptian? I've just forgotten.
There was Mohammed Shaban, Mohammed Alam, Ahmad Al-Wassani did a lot of 212 shows. Big Rami, of course, Egyptian. Yeah, Egypt was dominating last year. Every show was stacked with Egyptians, and they were all very good.
But I really, really, really hope this is a one and done deal for him. I really want to see Hassan win this. I want to see him do it, get an early qualification, and really shut it down to the Olympia. Because, I mean, we didn't see the best Hassan at the Olympia last year, but what do you expect when it's their 7th or 8th show? I mean, the guy had to keep peaking. And obviously, he did the Arnold Classic, which was, 2 weeks before, wasn't it?
Yep.
So it was really, really, I mean, testament to his dedication and everything to really trying to get to the Olympia. And I think he was 13th at the Olympia last year, 14th? Yeah. So I would love, I mean, really, he's a top 10 guy at his best. I mean, maybe even top 6.
Oh, yeah.
But let's see what Chris Aceto's done with that midsection, because the midsection, I mean, imagine him with like Lee Priest midsection. I mean, he'd be top 3 Olympia,
Yeah.
But was it you that said Hassan, pound for pound, is actually the thickest pro?
I think he is. I mean, look at him.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the most amount of muscle.
The only one that would rival him, I think, right now is maybe Nick Walker, as far as height and weight. He's just as wide as he is tall, just stacked, so dense and thick. But Hassan's got a prettier shape. This is a guy, you say I say definitely top 5, top 6 at his best at the Olympia. If he was really dialed in, what's he missing? He's not missing anything.
And I've seen some progress videos, and also one of them, I mean, he was very, very flat. You could tell, and he said, "I'm flat." But I tell you what, to me, that looks like he's made some big improvements. I think it was the one I saw the most improvements that jumped out to me, and I thought, okay, this is a new version, new improved version. Was his side chest. His side chest, there was more going on. And also his readable bicep, which is already a deadly shot for him. Yeah. So I'm very excited. I mean, I personally would love to see him come in and just be a straight first victory, and then really build some hype for the Olympia, because he is a guy that really I want to see in that top 10 Olympia, because he's kind of like a 5th to 8th guy, really. But he's going to have to have shown improvements from last year to his midsection, the separation and conditioning. And but like I said, what I'm seeing at the moment with the progress videos, even though he's flat, when you got a good eye, you can see that there's more going on than was last year. So I mean, I'm a big fan of Hassan. I think he's incredible. Yeah. And I would love to see him get the win here and then go smash it at the Olympia and get top 10.
So there's a couple of European guys breathing right down his neck. This spring has really, these Europeans that you've been following in the European shows, they've been doing the stateside shows, and they're showing us how good they really are. Italy's Andrea Muzzi, So I had just seen Andrea Presti for the first time in person. I still haven't seen Muzzy in person, but he's a big, big dude. He was third in Toronto. He was third at this show in 2019. He was just fourth place in the Cal Pro a couple weeks back. Big, big dude, great shape. You know, because now I'm actually starting to be able to tell the difference between Muzzy and Presti, because there was, I'm slow like that. I get confused, but you know, he's somebody I think in great shape could easily push us on for the win here.
Muzzy, yes, absolutely. Go for one thing, please, Andrea, if you're watching, please put some tan on your face, mate. Because I thought, you know, sometimes you see them, they turn up to a show and they come on and they got no tan on their face. They do another show a week or two later, and obviously they rectify. But he did exactly the same at Cali. So, but I tell you what, I'm so pleased with the improvements Muzzy's made, because he was always making like sixth place, fifth place, but he wasn't really. That's kind of like the top of the second call out, guys.
Yeah.
So, but I really want to. I was really happy to see him this year in those first call outs. I mean, I wouldn't have had him. I possibly would have had him winning Cali, because I had it between him and Theo.
Yeah.
So I thought he could have won Cali, actually. And I'm a big fan of Theo as well.
Yeah.
But I thought it was between him and Theo in Cali. But yeah, I think I hope the improvements keep coming, because he is so big. I mean, he's like in the 260s, 270. This guy's got huge legs. He's got good shape. The only body part he really lacks is kind of like chest, which looks a bit weak in his side chest. But apart from that, he's very, very, very complete. And his back shots head to toe are very deadly. So I'm really happy to see him moving up, you know, because I know his placing started to slip, I think it was last year. And then he kind of just went very, very quiet on social media. And that's usually either a good sign or a bad sign. Mm-hmm. I think maybe he got a bit mad with himself, but he obviously put that to use, really, really knuckled down, and came back this year. And I think he's made a huge splash, and I'm so happy for him. And like you said, I think he will push Hassan. Okay.
So you just mentioned Francis Theo. Let me listen to this. Yeah, look at that. I never took French. Theo, I first saw him finally at the New York Pro, where he took a very strong fourth place. Like you said, he's a lot bigger than you think he is. He's the opposite. Usually when you see guys on Instagram and then you see him at the show, you're like, oh, he looks so much better on Instagram. Theo, he's just as big as all these guys he's standing next to. And good Lord, he is a great poser. He brought the house down to New York Pro. It was one of the only routines in the open, maybe the only one, where I was like, wow, that was just, he had the audience just on their feet. And second place in Toronto, he almost won Toronto a couple weekends back. So this guy is also a front runner for the win. I would not be surprised at all if he pulls off a win here. I mean, we got three guys here we just mentioned. I think any one of these three so far could be our winner. But Theo, you've been watching this young man for a couple of years over there.
Absolutely. Le Grand Fromage, I call him, the big cheese. I'm trying to make the name stick, and his dad keeps messaging me, and he was checking on me when I was in hospital, his dad, a lot, and Theo sent me a nice message as well, like a video message saying he was going to win the New York Pro for me. But yeah, Theo, even if he doesn't get the win here, he's going to rack up a serious amount of points, and I do expect to see him at Olympia. And the thing is, he's only 27, 28.
Wow.
No, he's young, and he's improving. If you look at how he's improved in the last couple of years, I mean, he's doing the Arnold UK, and I shouldn't fuck it. I'm going to try and get him to fly into Manchester or Leeds, and I'm going to get him in the studio.
Yes.
Before he goes down to the Arnold UK, so I'm going to have an in-studio episode with him in September. So I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, wow. And I'm going to get him to stay at my house a couple of days. So we'll do some cool training footage as well for Global Muscle. But Theo, I love Theo, and he's very complete. I think
froze on me. Hopefully you unfreeze.
I think it's a good lesson to learn, Yeah. Internet connection. Okay.
No, you're good. You froze for a second. You're good.
Yeah. So, like you said, Theo, he looks good on social media, but when you see him on stage, it's like you don't realize how big I realized how big he was. If you go back and look at the Puerto Rico pictures last year, when he stood next, like Akeem Williams, really big guys like that, then you see, oh shit, he's really big. Yeah. And he's got a nice shape, good balance, and also, like I said, his routines are completely made up on the spot. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you can stand next to Akeem Williams and not look like a child, you're a big dude.
There you go.
Akeem is huge. Last but not least, in the open that we'll talk about, Max Charles, Mr. Consistency. He just knocked out 2 third places so far this season at the New York Pro and the Indy Pro. You know, Max has been around so long. He's done so many shows that kind of like doesn't get a lot of hype, I think, because we've seen him so much. It's like, yeah, Max again. But look, he's consistent. He's got incredible poses, so much muscle density and like the shoulders, the chest, the back. He's just a hardworking bodybuilder. And you know, who's to say if he hasn't won a show in a while? This could be it if he really pulls off some crazy condition.
Well, he posted yesterday and he said, "I'm bringing the conditioning." Now he's already brought pretty good condition in these last few shows. So, and I to be honest, I think he's kind of a bit of a feel-good story with Max, really, because I mean, in our previews, we weren't really in contention for him. Certainly, no way for the top 3. We thought he was on the slide, you know, and that's not the first time where we thought Max was on the slide, and then he goes and does something, you know, really extraordinary, and he brings amazing condition, and he keeps hanging in there, and he keeps bringing top 3s at the New York Pro and big shows like this. So I think one thing you can't do is underestimate him. But I think this top 4 is going to be very, very tight. I think you'll see a lot of comparisons, and be interesting to see how guys like whether Theo can, you know, Theo and Andrea Muzzi can pull ahead of someone like a Max Charles, because he is certainly bringing in good condition still, and he's also getting a lot of appreciation from the judges as well, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, they like to see someone who just doesn't give up, and Max he's persistent. He just keeps coming back again and again, never out of shape. You know, he really wants it, and he's no spring chicken. I believe he's about 42 or 43, I want to say. So he probably knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time left. So I think he's really trying to make the most of what time he has left in his career. Let's move on to 212. My favorite right now, I'm a little biased because, you know, I've known this guy since the very start of his pro career. Dektrick Bo Lewis, who was the 2020 New York Pro 212 champion. Tampa, last year, he slid down to 3rd. He had been 2nd the year before. And he was also, his pro debut, I believe, was here in 2019, where he took 2nd to Eduardo Correa. But he's been working very, very hard, bringing up. This guy's got a phenomenal physique, huge arms, chest, you know, and he's one of those guys. He messages me on a regular basis, and he's always, you know, what do you think? What do I still need to work on? And he doesn't say, some of these guys will argue with you. No, my legs are fine. He never does that. He just goes to work and makes the improvements. So I'm really hoping to see him pull off another win here. But Bo Lewis, very, very good, consistent, one of the newer 212s.
I really rate Dektrick. He messaged me the other day, actually, he texted me. And like you say, he's been really quiet. He's been really quiet the last year.
Yeah. And
I just kind of, it was kind of put out of my mind a little bit. I thought maybe what was he? Is he not competing? But sometimes, you know, when they go quiet, it means they're actually just working hard and just grafting, you know. And he posted I think it was a new video of front lat spread.
Yeah.
And he looks fantastic. I love his shape. In fact, he was one that I didn't realize how good he was until I saw him on stage at the New York Pro. I realized actually maybe it was him and Jason Lowe.
Yeah. Jason Lowe, that's right.
Jason Lowe, yeah. And I just thought, oh my God, there's another guy. Actually, I didn't realize how good he was until we actually saw him on stage hitting the compulsories when your photos are coming through on the group chat and everything. And I really like Dektrick. I like his back shots. I like his shape, his flow. He's kind of got like that 90s kind of like flow to his physique, where he probably would have done well as an open 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah. So I mean, really, if he's losing this one, it's going to be a conditioning issue. But I really see him winning this quite clearly.
Yeah. You know, best luck to him. And that's what it was. I remember he was very disappointed last year after taking 3rd in Tampa, because he worked very hard and he was hoping and expecting to win that. So I think that's what he shut everything down after Tampa last year and just went back into the gym. And he's in Nashville. He trains occasionally with Brandon Curry. Yeah. So that's certainly an advantage to any competitive. You're training with Mr. Olympia. Yeah. So a couple other guys, Abdullah Al Saif, who I'd never heard of really until this season, took 3rd in New York. Very nice shape, structure on this guy. He's got a good package going. And the other guy I'm impressed with, not just because he's Cuban and my wife's Cuban, but Emmanuel Rodriguez, a new guy I'd never heard of until this season, 3rd place in Indy. And, you know, he's someone that really, even when the first lineup came out, I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to him. But once he started hitting his poses, I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. You know, he's a youngster and he's hungry. We talked for a bit after the show, and he really wants to move up in the 212 ranks.
He got a good shout, didn't he? Because I was seeing the pictures coming in and I thought, well, this guy looks good. He's, you know, he's nice shape and everything. and I'm glad he got a good placing. But it's always nice to see new faces coming into the 212. So yeah, and the thing is, if he stayed on prep, he's probably going to be even better than he was back at the Indy.
Sure.
So yeah, he's probably going to be hungry as well, because I mean, really getting a third place in one of your first 212 shows of the season, you know, that's going to give you a lot of confidence going into a show like this. So yeah, it should be a good battle between him and Dektrick, I think.
Yeah. So moving on to classic, Camilo Diaz is one of the few open. Most people go up. They go from like men's physique to classic to open or whatever. They go up in the weights. This guy actually successfully came down from open bodybuilding, Camilo Diaz, and it's working out well for him. He actually looks great as a classic physique competitor. He took third place in New York. You know, arguably, I thought he could have been second. It was a tough top three there. Neil Curry from UK won, but very impressed with Camilo. You know, he's a lot of these guys in classic. To me, they're just like bodybuilders who weren't big enough to be good bodybuilders in open bodybuilding. And he's not that. I don't know how much weight he had to drop down to make classic, but he does have the really tight waist and nice lines and everything. He's someone I fully expect to see at the Olympia this year. He's building up the points.
He looks really good, actually, because like you said, when people say they're dropping down to classic, I just think, oh, cop out, mate.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's weak, but he looked really, really good. And he looked big as well. And he got second at Pittsburgh.
That's right.
He beat Neil Curry.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, Neil Curry was third at Pittsburgh and then jumped up to first at the New York Pro. So, yeah, like I said, he actually, I got to swallow my pride on that one, but I think he actually looked better as a classic. He looks really, really good, very conditioned, very tight. It didn't look like he'd killed himself to get down to it, because the muscles still look nice and full.
Yeah.
You know, because some guys, when like drop down to classic, you just think, well, you've just basically starved yourself 20 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and you look like you're about to drop dead, you know, just to get yourself down to a weight limit that you thought you do better in. But it definitely suits him, and he's had what, second? Is that second? Third?
Yeah. Second in Pittsburgh, third in New York. So he's right there. I mean, looking at the list of names, I didn't recognize too many other people. So that's my favorite, Camilo Diaz. If he doesn't win, like I always say, if he doesn't win, I want to see the guy who beats him. Yes. And maybe it's one of those names, because this has happened at almost every show. There's people on that list I've never heard of, but I'm like, wow, now I know who this guy is, and I'm going to be watching out for him in the future. The other name there that I'm not familiar with, but you've seen him compete a couple of times, I guess, Kelvin Hinge from the UK. So
yeah, he's doing all right, actually. I like these guys that travel around and not afraid to compete. I think he got second. He got second a few weeks ago in one of the lesser known, like the big one, like the New York Pro.
Yeah.
But he climbed up from like 11th at one show, and he just kept traveling, kept competing, you know, and that takes some doing to really keep going. You know, I don't know what he's been coming back home and going back over, but he's got a lovely physique, lovely shape. And I imagine actually he's probably picking up quite a few points, actually, if he's picking up second places.
Yeah.
So it'd be lovely to see another Brit in the Olympia, you know. So I'll have to go and check, or maybe message him, because he's messaged me a few times. I think he wants to come on Global. So maybe when I'm back, I'll maybe, if he's close, because I think he's Northerner. So if he's a Northerner, he can't be too far. So maybe I'll get him in and get him in the studio and have a chat with him. But lovely physique, really nice, you know, perfect lines, good symmetry, nice balance, good legs. So yeah, let's see how he does.
Okay. And the last division we'll talk about, and you know, there's a lot of divisions, guys. I'm sorry I wasn't familiar with a lot of the names, but women's bodybuilding, two names did jump out at me. Roshana Boswell, who I've seen several times, very, very good. You know, that X frame with the wide shoulders, the real narrow waist, flaring quads. She's very, very good. And then Julia Fowry, who is it Switzerland? She's from Switzerland, I think. Yeah, I mean, I've been following her for a few years on Instagram. If you like sexy female bodybuilders, Julia Fowry is she's probably the epitome of that. But she's also got an incredible physique, and I would not be one bit surprised if either one of these women pulls off the win here. Yeah,
that Julia Ferrer is awesome. I mean, she's got really good shoulders, and because she's one of these ones you just think, is she women's physique or is she women's bodybuilding? But I forget where she competed last year, and I kind of didn't expect her to look as good as she did, but she did. She looked, and I was like, wow, okay. So she's really capable of really bringing, because obviously you see all the off season, you know, the pictures on her Instagram and, you know, the glute shots and stuff like that. And you just think, okay, is she like what's her name? Amazonka. You think, is she just looks great on Instagram? It might not necessarily translate to the stage. She did compete, and she brought a really, really polished package. So I'm really, really excited to see what she's going to bring this year, because I think she's absolutely bloody awesome. I had her on Global about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She was really,
That's right.
really interesting guest, and she was messaging me afterwards about, because we're both into like comic books, and I think we're messaging back and forth for about 2 hours about, well, all this stuff, you know, all the comic book stuff.
That's right. Wow.
So
So a gorgeous geek. That's awesome.
yeah, enough about me.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. You are a gorgeous geek. So Tim Gardner Productions, guys, I haven't seen info. We're recording this on Wednesday morning. I haven't seen info on a pay-per-view, but I assume there's going to be a pay-per-view. If so, Tim Gardner, Gardner Productions, that's the website, and there'll be all the info on there. Yeah, it's a 2-day show. It's going to be a haul. It's got a lot of athletes doing multiple divisions. So, you know, good luck to all the competitors. And of course, I've been getting a lot of inquiries about you, Giles, MD Global. No rush, but what's the timeline? How are we doing on that?
Well, I was talking to Lauren about this yesterday. I think what I might do is because I'm feeling a little bit better every single day. I mean, I made my own breakfast this morning. I can, you know, like little tiny things are getting easier, you know? So I think I might start back with like a hot news, because obviously I don't have to, there's no stress of having to get people on time. Sure. I think I'll maybe do a hot news, and then I've got a lineup of in studio guests, which is just one guest, just talking to them. And I think that'll be a lot easier than me doing multiple guests, which will be quite taxing. But let's just play it by ear. I mean, I'm just trying to eat and sleep as much as I can and rest. And, you know, like even like the medication, when I stand up, I get really lightheaded and stuff like that, you know? So I don't want to get somebody in and then just say 20 minutes in and say, guys, I can't, you know, and they've come all that way. So we'll be back. I'm also working on a season 5 intro as well, because I want to come back with season 5, come back with a bang. But when I am at full power, I mean, I really want to take things to another level with everything I'm doing for MD. I really, really do. So and we'll do some more film with Lauren as well, and Buff Bombshell and all that as well. So like I said, I'm just focusing 100% on recovery, because I want this to be I want it to happen as quickly as possible, because I hate being unproductive. It's like, it's torture for me, you know?
I can imagine.
So, you know, because even not just the filming and the editing, I'm working on like tours and all these other projects that we've never even talked about, and I've never talked about publicly. So like, to go from that level of productivity, you know, to kind of just like literally just you know, struggling to shower and everything, it's hard for me, you know, but I will start back very, very soon. And yeah, and I can get back to work doing what I love, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, Giles also does Nothing But a Podcast with Ronnie Coleman, the IFBB Pro League Hype Show for, which channel is that on?
NPC News Online.
NPC News Online. You're organizing tour. You've always been incredibly busy, incredibly productive, and you were doing it with 30 to 40% heart function. Let's put that out there. So.
Also, did I tell you? I mean, the troponin levels. They told me a few days after. On the Monday, my troponin levels were over 6,500. Is
that good or bad?
That's very bad. Oh. I mean, the ambulance lady, she says, Giles, that's actually a new record.
Wow.
And the fact that I've never even heard that level, and the fact that you're still alive, she said, is actually quite something. She said it was actually my lifestyle and probably my age that saved me from dropping dead, basically, because like doing cardio, I've been back training 9 or 10 weeks, and my diet was good, my blood sugar was good. So for me to have got through that, you know, I mean, on the first night I went in, I was texting people at like 3 a.m, just responding to everyone who was like concerned, you know. I felt guilty, you know, but the fact that you know, I'm sort of, so it was a big one, you know. But like I said, I've been working for the last few years with a severely blocked heart that was over 80% blocked.
Wow.
And the fact that I was feeling probably the best I felt in so long, you know, with no warning shots, it was quite a shock. Yeah,
I mean, I'm really looking forward to what version of this, 2.0, 3.0, the next version of Tiger, because man, if you were that productive and that good at what you do with that sort of impediment that you weren't even aware of, I can only imagine once you're fully recovered, because, you know, few people in this world have a passion for the sport that you do. You know, I mean, thank God you're still with us and still a vital part of the industry, because, you know, our late dear friend, Peter McGuff, his legacy will never be repeated, but I do see you as a successor. You know, you're one of the only people that has that link to the history going back decades, and still has that passion and love for the sport, and that connection with all the athletes. It's a very rare thing, especially today. We have thousands of YouTube channels of guys who've never been to a contest. They've never talked to a pro bodybuilder. They just put footage up from other things and do their little commentary. But you're in a league of your own, Giles, for sure.
Thank you. Well, I'm just glad that I it's funny because before I had surgery, because obviously there's a chance I might have not made the surgery. It's major surgery, I just got a chance to see the new Obi-Wan series.
I was supposed to start watching it last night, but my wife was watching 90 Day Fiance. Oh, what's that? Is that from Obi-Wan?
5 Finger Death Punch.
Oh, 5 Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, and also they released 3 new songs. So I was actually crying yesterday because I was listening to it. And I was so euphoric, the fact that I got to listen to this music that came out obviously after my surgery. So I'm very, very thankful, very grateful, and also very, very, very appreciative for all literally hundreds and hundreds of messages, voice notes, and Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler, and really sending me voice notes and messaging back and forth. Dan Solomon, people like yourself, and Jen and Steve, and and you know what? 30% of the people that message me, I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, well, it just goes to show you've reached that, you've made a connection with all these people. You have no idea, you're never going to meet them, most of them, but you put out that good karma and that good energy. It comes back to you. I really do believe that.
But you know what? It really did help.
Yeah, I mean,
it did.
The mind is everything.
Even if it's not, I won't even call it a distraction. It's like it was like, because I'd be so immersed in sort of responding to people and feeling, because the genuine ones, the ones that are you can tell by the way that they word it and the way that they do it, and the people that really reach out. I mean, it's really it's quite it's very overwhelming, but I'm very, very appreciative because it's not something I'll forget, mate. I really won't.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's wrap it up. So Puerto Rico Pro, guys, happening this weekend. It's a 2-day show, Saturday and Sunday. Most people want to know when's the Open. The Open is going to be Sunday. So, Sunday judging at 9, finals at 4. But of course, there's many other divisions: fitness, figure, men's physique, wellness, bikini open. Keep an eye on Tim Gardner Productions. By the time this video comes out, I'm hoping there will be pay-per-view information on there so that you can support the show and, of course, watch the show, because we're all fans of sport. We want to see how these people do. And some people are going to be headed to the Olympia after this weekend for sure. So that's it. Giles Tiger Thomas, thank you so much. Guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, make some comments, do all that stuff, hit that little notification bell. We appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching the Puerto Rico Pro preview with myself and Giles Tiger Thomas. We'll see you next time.